So the final third piece that you're gonna absolutely need to begin properly with QiGong is visualization. It's really important to introduce anybody who's trying to learn to the difference between Eastern and Western language. The reason why is because in the Eastern description of visualization, you can visualize a feeling. What's going on, everybody? Peyton Milton, Qigong, Kung Fu, Tai Chi, coming at you all with a video, Qigong for beginners. But before we get into it, definitely like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get going. So, Qigong, when you're starting out, seems simple. When you proceed into the teachings, you can't possibly practice it without knowing three key things. Firstly, embryonic breathing. Embryonic breathing is expanding the belly as you inhale and collapsing the belly as you exhale. But in Qigong, we use the tongue to push up behind the front two teeth so that we can connect this energy circuit that I'll be covering in my later videos. So definitely check those out if they're already out. If not, ask me about it. I'll probably share it with you. So the embryonic breathing is interesting because it's got three different aspects to it that take away your conscious attention. And we really only have 6 to 7 different conscious attention bands that we can ever really use at one time. So when you're inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth for one of the typical Dantian breaths that's taught in Qigong, that's one of those conscious things. 2, you have to remember the tongue placement, connecting the roof of the mouth with the tongue so that the energy circuit can be complete. And I mean, this is really for people who truly believe in energy. And if you don't, then there are some other tongues. For example, there's a tongue for nasal embryonic breathing. That's the third part of the embryonic breathing that I needed to cover. The nasal embryonic breathing, the tongue doesn't go up behind the two front teeth. It actually pushes up until there's no more hard palate. Posture. Check it out. Random incense. Fun fact, frankincense increases focus by 10%, studies have shown, and also decreased depression. I didn't actually read those studies though, only the focus one. All right, here we go. Spinal alignment is really what Qigong means when it speaks about posture. Okay, everything that we adjust in the posture when practicing Qigong centers around basically stretching the spine away from the core. So everything you're doing, rolling the shoulders back, keeping the shoulders down away from the ears, tucking the chin in, stretching the crown up, feeling the stretch in the back of the neck by tucking the chin in to stretch the crown up in the proper direction. Tucking the tailbone. So you're tucking the tailbone, lengthening out those tailbone, those vertebrae, but you're doing the same thing up here, up top. It's very different than just feeling relaxed on top of your core. And in the Kung Fu that I teach, which will be on this same channel later on, we focus a lot on connecting with the lower half of the body and making sure that's all optimal. So I really, really advise, especially if you're doing seated work, to focus on expanding the spine up away from the center of mass, the core of the spine. It's literally 2 fingers below the belly button, where the Dantian is located in the center of mass, just on the spine side, okay? So just focus on that, and you can actually feel this spot expand. The vertebrae actually expand in this particular spot. That is not true with every single vertebrae when you embryonic breathe properly. There's also reverse abdominal breathing, which I'll cover in a later video that will help you a lot with this spinal alignment practice. So the final third piece that you're gonna absolutely need to begin properly with Qigong, energy work in any Chinese system, is visualization. It's really important to introduce anybody who's trying to learn to the difference between Eastern and Western language. The reason why is because in the Eastern description of visualization, you can visualize a feeling. But in the Western definition of visualization, we visualize colors and things that we see, and maybe, you know, you see something that makes a noise, so now your visualization is stretching into, what do you call imagining hearing? Do we have a word for that in the Western dialect? Because I don't know it. But I guess you could just sum visualization in Qigong up to working the Qigong with the imagination. So we're essentially working with the earth chi, the human chi, and the heaven chi. So we're picking up the earth chi, we're mixing it with the heaven chi, we're drawing it through the human chi to store up massive amounts of energy, usually first here in the dantian, 2 fingers below the belly button, core of the mass. That's where we store the most energy. This gives us access to the belt channels. It also is where the legs connect with the core, everything that we're stretching away from in this Qigong, right? So that's essentially all you need to know to start practicing Qigong properly. And it's really better to practice one of these things fully and completely, and then get the, I guess I'll call it the muscle memory. Get the muscle memory of the activity ingrained into your body, and then move on to the next one. And then next time you find something that's awesome, and you're just like, man, I really need to work on that. Start working on that. And then when you find something else, oh man, you know, I heard about this complete relaxation thing or complete comfort that he was talking about, and I don't have it here, so let's work on that during this. And that'll be coming up in one of my later videos as well. But before I finish this video off, I really want to give you guys an introduction to how you can apply these things in a seated meditation. And this is actually going to touch on the visualization a little bit too, because we're visualizing our intention stimulating a specific feeling. And by doing this and turning inwards and observing yourself and your body and how it reacts differently to the different intentions and visualizations of feeling that you're sending through the body, you will learn so much more than my words could ever teach you. So I'm gonna turn sideways here so y'all can see me. I'm gonna start with an exhale, making sure I fully condense my abdomen so that when I inhale next, I can expand. I'm gonna tuck my chin in, I'm gonna tuck my tailbone, but not until I stimulate the microcosmic orbit by inhaling, expanding the belly, drawing my conscious attention down to the root. Once my conscious attention hits the root, that's when I tuck my tailbone. Continue that embryonic breath, expanding this first gate behind the dantian. Once that gate expands, then I know I'm good to go into the second gate, which I will cover in a later video. But for now, just start stimulating the stretch of the spine into the crown. For beginners, I recommend breathing out of the mouth, tongue touching the roof of the mouth behind the 2 front teeth. For people who may not be beginners and you've already got this muscle memory developed of expanding the belly when you inhale and condensing the belly when you exhale, then I recommend nasal embryonic breathing, which is almost exactly the same, except that Kung Fu tongue I said that I was gonna bring up in a later video. You push the tongue up so that it closes the mouth off from the airways. This increases the piercing effect with the nose into the lungs. Expanding the belly draws into the bottom of the lungs at the same time. So you're utilizing the body's natural mechanics to increase the oxygen levels, decrease the CO2 levels, and basically just make yourself better. So catch us next time, guys, on our newest video we'll have coming out here pretty soon. I don't know, I'm probably gonna edit this part out anyway. Maybe not, because that's how I roll. But tune in next time. I'm gonna elaborate fully and completely on the microcosmic orbit and working with the 3 gates. Peace.